Organizer, press star now. You're now joining the meeting. Please wait for the leader to admit you to the meeting. You are now joining the meeting.
How many years is it? 100?
You are not allowed to unmute. To raise your hand, press star 5. This meeting is being transcribed.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Oakland County Road Commission. Happy birthday to you. Now that's quite a thing. Are we the longest in the state, or where are we?
No, we're not. That'd be a good question on where we're at. I'm trying to remember who was the first road commission, and that escapes me. It's in the south, but we're I think middle of the pack, because when they passed the law, then that was where by the vote of the people, the road commissions were created, and road commissions were created, just to reiterate, was way back. Townships each had their own road department, and there was conflicts between townships, no surprise, where roads cross between townships. So creating road commissions was one of the earliest forms of government consolidation. They took all the township road departments and created road commissions, and then our charge is to make sure that goods and services can be transported, if you will, across a county instead of dealing with each individual township. There's a little road commission history.
Okay. Okay, approval of the agenda.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against or opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, public comments. Anybody here for public comment? First person we have is,
Let's make sure it's not the, Chairman, make sure it's not the agenda.
the second to be regarding the building. This is just for general. At the end, we'll have the public comment on the
Agenda item.
agenda item on the building. Does anybody wish to speak under public discussion?
I do. If it's on the new building, we have to wait till the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be item 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me? I want to make sure I'm clear. Thank you for the few minutes just to ask some questions and get some clarity. My understanding is that there is a meeting this afternoon with negotiation members from 2 of our unions, with either one of you or a number of our road commissioners. And I'm concerned about the optics of that meeting, understanding that we're in active negotiations with those groups. So I was hoping maybe you could share with us, number 1, is there a meeting this afternoon, and some details about it and what the intentions are for agenda topics, et cetera, so that we can make sure that we maintain good labor relations and good faith negotiations and not have the appearance of interfering or undermining that process.
I received a phone call last week, and it was regarding the morale of the road commission. We had numerous people speak our last meeting, and majority of them were management or directors, and some rank and file people felt threatened to come to and speak. So they've been reaching out to me, and I have no problem, as I stated in the meeting, I'll come meet with any department, and I intend to doing that. I'm going to go look at all the buildings, which I've always said as I'm doing it slowly but surely. And it's not just a meeting we're meeting in the parking lot, and I'm going to hear what they have to say. And now it has nothing to do with negotiations or et cetera, but I guess they go hand in hand.
That's my concern, is that it gives the impression that it's undermining the process that we have in place and the people who've been charged with, you know, executing good faith negotiations on the behalf of yourself and, you know, the road commission in total. So with this, I mean, is it meeting with the hourly group as well as the clerical group?
Anybody can come.
Okay.
It's not an official meeting, we're just gonna meet in the parking lot. Hey, what do you want to hear? What's going on?
And what time is the meeting at?
I was supposed to be at 3:30, now 4. I'll be there at 3:30. It's just a gathering of our, putting the minds together of how the people feel, you know?
How have the members been told about the meeting?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
So not everybody's aware of the meeting or the opportunity to come meet with you.
You can meet with me anytime they like. I'll make time for you. Any employee in a road commission, that's what I will do personally, to hear their concerns.
Are you aware of what time people end their workday here?
Different times, 3:30, 4.
Right. So if somebody's working till 3:30, how do they go to a meeting with you at 3:30?
If they could call me and I'll meet with them at 4, 5, whatever, one-on-one.
But this meeting this afternoon.
It's not an official posted meeting, it's just hey, Commissioner McPherson, I'd like to sit with me, no problem.
Okay.
That's all it is. And if you did that, I would do that with you, with Dennis, with Gary.
So is there any problem with any of us attending that meeting this afternoon?
If you want to come, but the members might feel intimidated, but that's fine.
Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
I just want to, for a note of clarification, there were a number of people that spoke about the morale. It was not all management. There were a number of people in administration that were part of the clerical and technical union that spoke last night.
We want to hear from all of them, I do, you know. That's, with me, it's an open door. Everybody wants to talk to me about anything, I'm here to listen.
You understand what my concern
Oh,
is,
absolutely.
Right.
I negotiate all the time, and
right?
but there's no conflict with me, what I'm doing. My job is to talk to people, set policy.
Well, they might interpret it differently, and so it's important that we make that very clear to people. So that was my concern. Thank you for listening and for responding. And
Yeah. But it may be with management, with negotiations too, if they feel threatened a little bit. Somebody's there, they're not gonna want to speak up, but anyway, I'll deal with that. If you ever want to have your people meet, with your department, I'll come sit with you and see what you do, this and that. And I know you have a lot of hands-on with everybody, with their health, their livelihoods, their pension. You have a lot on your plate, human resources, you know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, any other buddy wish to speak under public discussion? Okay. Item number 5. Minutes of April 24, 2025. So moved. What? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, disbursements. A and B. So moved. Any discussion? I have a couple, actually. Got the couple upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Maybe your minutes were just,
What?
I think your minutes were just.
While you're looking, I do have one question. It is about it's under, 6A on page 2 of 3. And just for clarity, it says Wayne County traffic signals. Are we?
It's their share of participation of the traffic signals that we maintain, or that they maintain for us as well. Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, I had one on, anything else, Nancy? On page 1 of 2, item 59867. equipment distributors, maintenance contracts. 59867.
What's the question?
What is that? Since that's maintenance contracts, central operations.
We have, maintenance contracts to maintain the equipment, and that's one of them.
Like mechanics or building stuff?
Like generators and different pieces of equipment, compressors, air compressors. We maintain those on a regular basis. Okay.
How often do they come out?
Generally, the generators are maintained every 6 months. But we also have an on-call if we have any issues with them.
Then on page 2, item number 5988.
So the maintenance agreement is every 6 months? The maintenance agreement is they come out every 6 months.
Yes.
So it's every 6 months.
LJ Rolls, this is the same one we had last meeting. That's HVAC. They have a board-approved contract for us for time and materials.
Because every month there's like a different contractor for service. So I would like.
This is the same one we had last meeting.
There's somebody new, our lead contracting, another company, another one.
We use different contractors for different things.
Right. That's my point. It'd be nice to have like a maintenance contract where one company maintains and keeps everything up to date, servicing it. Because it sounds like if something breaks, then we call it a fix it, you know?
No, we have a maintenance contract with LJ Rolls for HVAC. The board has approved the contract.
Okay.
And we call them when we have an issue. If we have to go out and replace a piece of equipment, we go out to bid for that, as the law requires.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, it sounds like, depending on what the equipment is, it is who comes in and work on it. So, correct. So under that maintenance contract, we have a number of pieces of equipment, and whichever vendor we have already contracted with is the one to come out and service it. Correct.
Could we get a list of your maintenance contracts?
Sure.
And let that state how often they come out, name of the company, and the purpose of HPC, whatever it may be.
And then on 6B, I had a question on 59895, Forster Swift Collins for labor relations.
Yeah, that's the quarterly retainer fee for our Labor Relations Council.
Okay, and they, what do they do? I mean, are they negotiating a contract or?
They negotiate our contract. They represent us in any type of grievance that procedure. We consult with them on any issues relating to the contract and labor relations.
And then we have an attorney on staff that could do that as well, correct?
To my knowledge, we have made a decision to leave that independent third party so that there's no conflicts.
Yeah. So we're paying them like $80,000 a year, or?
No, I believe it's $67,000 a year.
Okay.
Which is well below
This
any ongoing rate.
This is going on for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Before I got here.
Okay. I negotiate a lot of contracts myself. Some people have attorneys there. I don't think you really need to spend that kind of money for having an attorney do your negotiations.
I respect your opinion. I think the Road Commission has had a long-standing practice of having consistency from contract to contract and having a lead negotiator doing that from a legal perspective and having it not be a non-biased person, but a person that's representing you and the board. I believe our attorney has done a very good job in the past, and I think that you agree with that because you recently signed one of the ones that they negotiated. So I respect your opinion.
That's something I'd like to look at when we have in-house counsel where they may be able to do it. And then item number 58912, the Mannix Smith Group.
One of our consultants, engineering consultant.
And but what are they actually doing? What is that for?
They design bridges, design road work, depending on work overflow. Engineering will choose from one of the 5 or 6 board-approved engineering firms.
And for this particular item on the disbursements, they've been retained to do the preliminary engineering or the design and investigation for bridge replacements in Waterford Township.
And I had another one at 5993, Hire Right LLC, professional services.
HireRight does our background checks for all of our people that are hired. They also, if there's any type of homeland security or special security background that needs to be done, they do that background check.
Good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other, all in favor, need a motion to approve that? We're on discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 7, permits.
So recommend the board approve the permits as submitted by staff.
So moved.
What?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, 8, we have to take these separate. 8A is recommend the board approve the abandonment of New Hudson Road in Lyon Township. And that's a roll call. Right.
You want discussion?
You gotta move it. So,
Support.
All in favor?
no.
Or any opposed, or discussion? Done being opposed? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner McPherson?
Yes.
Commissioner Sackie?
Yes.
Commissioner Quarles?
Yes.
Okay, 8B, recommend the board approve the abandonment of Mohican Lane in the Charter Township of Waterford.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yeah, public hearing required for this one.
Yes, there was a public hearing required because not all of the adjacent, property owners. Wait, this one, no, there was not. I'm sorry, we're on B. There was no public hearing because all the adjacent property owners signed the petition.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ever say aye? Roll call, I'm sorry.
Commissioner McPherson?
Yes.
Commissioner Sackie?
Yes.
Commissioner Quarles?
Yes.
Item number
9, we can do A and B is recommend the board adopt the resolution accepting the deeds and easements for recording.
So moved.
Support.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Item number 10.
Recommend the board adopt a resolution for our filing of our 2024 Act 51 financial report.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 11, right? Second?
Yep. Recommend the board adopt the resolution approving the sale of excess property.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion?
How large is the piece?
1.82.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 12.
Recommend the board adopt the resolution approving the road closure of Buno Road on June 18th.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13.
Recommend board approve the appropriation transfer in the traffic safety department.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14A.
We can do 14A and B together. It's recommended board approve the local cost participation agreements with the city of Southfield and Groveland Township.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15A and B.
Yep, we can do A and B. It's recommended board approve the summer maintenance agreements with the city of Novi and the city of Southfield.
So moved.
Any discussion? Go ahead, sir.
Was there any increase?
Well, you gotta think about this. No, because the sweeping is what we did bid sweeping this year, so it didn't go up. It's last year's contract. And we just offer them the price that the contractor gives us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question too. What happens when, we award it with a city and they take it over for us and their equipment breaks down and they can't do it?
That has not been an issue. And we do have, a line item that is for emergency sweepings. We can call our contractor to go in and do it, but typically the cities do far more frequencies than we do.
Yeah. So I know Hazel Park, theirs breaks down a lot. They only got one. It takes like a month, 2 months to,
Yeah, we don't.
there's a lot to keep them things running, I guess.
Yeah, yep.
That's why we got out of that business and we contracted it. Years ago, we used to do our own sweeping and trying to keep those on the road for high maintenance and disposing of the sweepings as hazardous material.
But we're responsible with we get the money for them, we make sure the cities do it, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, if the city does do it, they don't get it done, because it falls back on us, right?
But you just said if the city
We're
does
ultimately
do it.
responsible.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah, so I said if they don't do it, then we would call our contractor to go in and do it.
Or do they have like a 3-week window, because you only got a season on probably.
Well, like I said, we do it, our sweeping is 3 here.
Okay,
Okay, and they're probably doing 5 to 10. So it's never been a problem. And that's why they want this contract, because they want their streets cleaner than the contract that the commission has.
and then how many sweepers do we have in our league?
We don't
We don't
have,
have sweepers.
Don't have any, okay.
they're too high maintenance, and that's why we have a contractor that does it. If we need a sweeping, we call our contractor and have it swept.
It's an annual contract.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're on 16,
We can do A and B. It's recommended the project task order agreements with Hubble Rough and Clark and Soils Materials Engineering.
So moved.
Support.
all in favor, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I did have a question on this. Now, is this with like, testing of we discussed about the Preston? Is that related to that somehow?
Oh, Sam, the testing.
For which task order?
Huh?
For which?
The sampling of,
The SAD.
Oh, the SAD. So, for this particular task order, the scope of services does include some testing, but that would feed or provide input into the design of the pavement section itself. So it's we're looking at doing a full depth reclamation, which is a very specialized process that requires kind of a on the go of sampling testing, but also designing as you're doing it. It's a quite robust process.
Well, this is more in the asphalt area, not, and I'll talk to Sam afterwards.
Is that in-house?
No.
Is that in-house?
No, this,
But we have a department in-house that we have that can do this, correct?
not full depth reclamation, no.
Are you being pulled up, we don't have the resources, or?
We don't have that expertise.
It's a specialized reclamation of asphalt pavement, and it takes a special pavement design to do that. That's a little bit outside of our lane. We test concrete, we test density of asphalt, we test gravel, we do all of that in-house when we can, but when we are overloaded with projects, we'll hire somebody like Soils Materials to do it.
What do we gotta do to up our game that we can do this in-house? Because we already have that department where we can expand on it and instead of subcontracting it out.
Any certification for that?
I'd have to circle back and evaluate the current qualifications and requirements that both what we have of our staff as well as the expectations to get to that point, to be able to do it in-house, to be able to answer that question.
Commissioner Ford?
I think, another way of looking at this, is if you really want an evaluation, is the certification requirement equally as well as the cost of bringing that in-house as opposed to, continuing in the manner that we're doing it.
And it's also, I will add, it's also been challenging to find technical people to do that work. Especially in our testing area, it's been challenging to find that. We've been developing them in-house, but it's been a challenge finding the technical people.
That's why we need to recruit, retain.
We do.
Because, I mean, they have this department and it's auditor and, sounds like we're only handle 50% of our work in there. Or am I inaccurate saying that? Without subbing it out?
We don't.
We can do that in-house?
We don't do full depth reclamations very often. They at most, I think, since while I've been here, maybe once a year at most.
Right, you have to put a cost analysis on, like Commissioner said, right, see how much it costs.
Right.
See the benefits of
This, the whole pavement materials, it's a lot of specialties, a lot of different techniques, just like this full depth reclamation, there's cold recycle, there's a whole lot of different things, and we can't be the experts in all of it. So we pick and choose what we do. The heavy duty work, the daily testing of materials, we do that, and we do that well, and we're certified to do it.
No, I at 12 and John R, I stopped and talked to people. And there was the guy on the computer was punching away. He's putting in 10, 12 hours a day, keeping up with all that. And
yeah.
And they told me about the department they have and they can expand it, but they're working hard.
They do.
They need to recruit, retain.
We recruit all the time.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Or opposed, motion carries. Item number 17.
Recommend board approve the agreement with HUD Community Funding Grant for the paving of Dunlap Road in Oxford Township.
So move.
I support.
Any discussion?
That's only gonna be part that's in Oakland County, right?
Yeah.
It's only for the section that's in Oakland County.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 18.
Recommend board approve the MDOT contract for our project on Orchard Lake Road from I-696 to 13 Mile Road.
So move.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Number 19, A and B.
Well, are we gonna do, these we have to do separate, Mr. Chair, so it's 19A, we received bids for grass seed, our annual requirements, is recommended the board awarded to Haynes Geo Components.
So move.
I support.
Discussion?
company we've been using for a number of years, right?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19B, we received bids for straw mulch blankets. It's recommended board awarded to Geo Components. Ames Geo.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19C, received bids for hydro seeder supplies, our annual quantities. It's recommended board awarded to Haynes Steel Components.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19D, we received bids for our regraveling program. It's recommended board awarded to GBM Sand and Gravel and Pierce Pit Trucking.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. I got a question. It says Bedrock's involved with this, but it's awarded to the other two. Can you explain that?
I'm sorry, there was an updated memo that brought that error, so it is just.
It is just the two.
Okay, didn't make sense to me, so, yeah. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 20, we received bids for our 2025 maintenance concrete patch program. It's recommended board awarded to Great Lakes Contracting Solutions.
So moved.
Discussion.
Oh, okay, I see. We got 4 bids on it. Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
I have a question.
Nancy, go ahead.
I know that Great Lakes has been doing this for a number of years for the Road Commission. My question is, do they look at working with some of the local or community type businesses or as subcontractors at all? I don't think we can dig that far, but it would be.
Are you trying to make sure I understand the question?
I'm looking at, do they bring in any subs?
I believe all their workforce is doing the work for us. I don't believe there's.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All in favor, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 21.
21A, the board approved the ideal purchase of 3 trailer air compressors and jackhammers from Michigan Gas.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yes. So on this here, it looks like we piggyback the state on the pricing.
Yep.
You find that always competitive when we piggyback the state and we don't put it out for bid?
Yeah. Yep. We've tested that in the past, and this Sourcewell, MyDeal are usually better than we get bids. There are some things that we don't do it on because we know that we'll receive better bids. Plus, this takes away all the effort, if you will, and time of putting together bids and going through the whole bid process, which costs us time and money.
Thank you.
Commissioner Forrest, yep.
Thank you. And some of this is collaborative bidding so that
Right.
the majority and the larger bid, best prices.
Yeah.
And I know we also check what Oakland County, the general government has, and if it's a better deal, we'll piggyback on that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, yes.
Recommended board approve the Sourcewell contract or purchase of a post-pounder truck for traffic safety from Reefer Peterbilt Petrol.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. How many of these do we have?
Currently, we have one. This is an additional one that we'll have.
The one we have is 10 years old?
No, it's not that old, but this is a very heavily used machine. Requires a lot of uptime because we use it for guardrail and sign installation. So having a second truck will help us be more efficient in our operation.
And that's, we'll have it next week, or we gotta wait a year?
It says it will be delivered. They have to build it, so it's not gonna be here next week, but I don't know where that says that in your memo, Mary, do you know?
The terms are not 200 days.
Oh, thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 22.
Number 22 is recommended that, at least from staff here, that we remove the pause on the building, our new building, and allow Frank Rewall to start on May 21st.
Discussion.
I think we have another people who want to discuss this. Do you mind if we get a little quick overview from our council on the documents you put forth, Mr. Chair? Is that okay?
Yes.
Jennifer, why don't you give us-
Thank you. Yes, I'd be more than happy to do that. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all of you for coming. Appreciate your time and effort this morning. As I think this board and the entire staff is aware, we've been on a 90-day pause with respect to this building. That 90-day suspension is allowed by the contract, but that is the one and only opportunity to pause. The contract does have termination for convenience, but it also has the opportunity, should the suspension exceed 90 days, for the contractor to cancel. We do not want to put ourselves, obviously, in that position because that opens a very large can of worms with respect to cost. Even terminating for convenience would not be without consequence. It is in the road commission's best interest, it is in the public's best interest to resume the particular project, to resume this project. You certainly have a memo from me, not just this one, but certainly the board, in the context of attorney-client privilege, has also received memos from me previously. It is imperative with respect to this agency's operations to protect our status as a federal fund grantee. You saw today that there were 2 agenda items that required federal funding. The significant percentage of federal funding for those 2 projects alone on today's agenda was approximately 90%. $6 million of federal funding went to our communities in our county from those particular projects. Our traffic safety director, Danielle Deneau, took 2 years to secure $5 million in federal funding for the Traffic Operations Center for this new building. Macomb got money for the Traffic Operations Center, for their Traffic Operations Center before we did. It was a great example, a great lead for our team to be able to go out and secure that funding. We do not want to be in a position where we cannot secure federal funding. We need it for the daily operations of the Traffic Operations Center. We need it for our project. We need it for our communities. We have a statutory duty to maintain the roads in this county so that they are safe for public travel. If we do not have federal funds to fix them, we will be in a situation where we cannot meet our statutory duty. That is unacceptable to me as the lawyer for this agency, and it's unacceptable to me as a citizen of Oakland County. You see the timeline behind you of all the work that has gone in to this particular project. That is literally the tip of the iceberg. But it's not about the work, it's about this agency and what's in its best interest. Operational efficiencies have been identified from the very beginning with respect to this project. We have a salt dome and a fuel island. You talked about the material testing lab already today, Mr. Chair. We have a sign shop and an electrical shop and a maintenance garage that are on our Waterford campus. Those folks aren't going anywhere. And we made a decision from an operational efficiency standpoint, collectively, after having done significant due diligence, that putting a new building on that campus improved our operational efficiencies and met that objective. Heaven forbid there was an accident in that testing lab. Heaven forbid. It's unfathomable that my safety supervisor would have to get in a car to go address that situation. I would rather have, I think we all would rather have, our safety supervisor be able to run out the back door and go into the testing lab and address the situation. And I heard you at the last meeting, Mr. Chair, have our clerk read into the record the Workers' Memorial Day proclamation that you had got from the county.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Safety is paramount in this agency. Right? We talk about federal funding, we talk about our statutory duty. Safety. Oh, those are 2-word phrases. Safety only needs 1 word, right? Safety is our absolute paramount. Absolute, it's our driving force. No pun intended. To be able to have all of our operations in one space would not only improve our operational efficiencies, as was noted in resolution after resolution, whether it's from the county or from ourselves, but from the safety perspective, for our risk management team and our safety team, our equipment trainers, safety supervisors, to be able to be on site to address, again, heaven forbid any issue. Knock on wood, I don't want any issue to have to come up. But that's a significant operational, day-to-day execution thing that I don't think can be overlooked. Again, the federal funding is imperative. We just received this week from Oakland County the draft of the new lease for the Traffic Operations Center. From an economic standpoint, we're already paying a little over $11,700 a month for the Traffic Operations Center at the current rate. Obviously, the longer we have to rent that space, the more money literally goes out the door for that. So resuming our timeline with respect to Frank Rewald and the building project we have planned, we can put the appropriate contingency language in that lease so that we can get out of the lease, out of the county space when our new building is ready. I think Mary touched on it previously. We don't want to be necessarily expending an inordinate amount of capital funding on this building or the PVR building, understanding that we would be moving. I think that's a very legitimate and appropriate expenditure of funds. But I think the cost to the agency is, as I noted in my memo, really more than dollars and cents. You heard the morale issue. I didn't feel it was appropriate for me at that time to speak because I think that was the employees' moment and the employees deserve that moment. And I'm glad they have the opportunity to have it. I certainly support the comments made by my staff members.
We asked for a review of this, and
it's in my
memo. Limited to 3 minutes, but it's a review done of where we are and what we're getting into.
So like I said, the contract allows for a 90-day suspension. We are knocking on the door of that suspension. The contract requires that written notice be sent to the contractor when that suspension was approved. That was done. A copy of that is attached to your memo. The contract requires that a written date be part of that notice. That's also attached to your memo. From an economic perspective, given what we've already spent and the liability that we would face taking a path other than resuming.
What's that amount?
I believe we've already spent almost $5 to $10 million. You received the
5, 10, 7, 8.
Well, you received the breakdown of that at the last meeting, because obviously you've got costs related to the pause, for the 90-day pause that was also delineated.
So we have a number right now where that is that we're obligated.
Well, part of it, Mr. Chair, is we're not going to know the flat dollar rate because if we do not resume, then Frank Rewald will be entitled to some damages. We don't know what those numbers are.
Correct.
He hasn't
But
provided.
up to right now, though, where are we? Anybody have that?
It's over 5 million.
Over 5 million.
Plus the 5 million in federal aid, and as we're very concerned about it, we can't move that $5 million.
Why?
The Fed, when you obligate federal funding, it's for that specific project. And we already obligated and said, we're using that for traffic operations.
So if you use that 5 million for a traffic operations center in another building, you can still use it, correct?
At that building, that's what the.
Okay,
No, you can't change the scope.
so if you use it for traffic operations in another building,
Changes the scope.
correct.
You can't do it.
You can't do it.
But it's hard, and I know you might hear otherwise, some funding that comes from the feds or the state, you can move around when you're dealing with federal highway funds. It's obligated to that specific project. And when you don't use it, when you lose it, that puts us on the federal aid fire list. And that makes it difficult for us when we apply for other federal aid, because they're going to say, why would we give it to you when you didn't use it? And federal highway is very strict on that. And one thing that we don't have, and I'll just mention, the site is already, the material has been removed, the parking lot's been removed, the lights have been removed. We have to restore it. Don't have a number on what restoring that site would be.
Correct.
So we're around 3 million to 7 million then.
So we're at least 5 million.
But we don't know, but it could be under, it could be over. So that's what I'm asking right now. And
At least means at least 5.
Expenses we paid is 4.24 million.
Paid already, but not, we know that there are items that have been done but not invoiced.
Sure. Commissioner? All right, I think you gave us a nice review of where we are with this.
My recommendation that we resume this project.
Okay, we'll go on to public discussion of the building. The first one we'd like to bring up is Commissioner Karen Juliet.
Morning. Happy birthday. Thank you. Oakland County Road Commission, or I'm sorry, Oakland County Commissioner District 8, which is part of Waterford, which is why I'm here. I was here last month, and I want to just reiterate that the request that was made on Commissioner Woodward back in February to delay this building, it was for 6 months and then redacted to 3 months, was not the request of the Board of Commissioners as misrepresented by Commissioner Woodward. On that meeting, I learned from your discussion that you seem to all be waiting on direction from Sean Carlson as a possible cost savings alternative. And you as road commissioners took a fiduciary oath to manage the funds of the road commission. So that onus falls on you, not Commissioner Woodward, not Executive Coulter, and not Executive Carlson. So there obviously can make a recommendation. So should there be an alternative that reflects the cost savings, there will be a public explanation expected justifying the cost savings after the money, the $4 million that was discussed, is pointed out, that's been invested, and the potential loss of the $5 million of federal funding that is, from my understanding, site specific. So it does go to a traffic building, but it has to be at the site that was applied for. So it is my hope that well, at least now, from a public optics perspective, this is just looking like irresponsible governance. I'm not sure how that there will be a cost savings presented that reflects all of the costs put in. So I ask of you all now to resume the delay that has been imposed at the current and allow the current site to resume, as 2/3 of this board approved last fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we have Chuck Hart.
Good morning. My name is Chuck Hart. I'm one of the vice presidents of Hubble, Roth, and Clark. I would like to wish RCOC a happy birthday. HRC has been around for 110 years this year, and so it's no small feat to make it that long as an agency. We are one of the consulting engineers for RCOC. We've been serving in that role for over 30 years. And we appreciate all the opportunities we've had to work with everyone here at RCOC. I thought I would mention, been attending a lot of these meetings and listening, and we were involved in the scoping and needs analysis and talking about facilities. HRC's been involved in that for a long time. The main thing I wanted to mention was what started all of this was to get everyone at RCOC under one roof. And that was one location. So given the properties RCOC owns, PVR and this location were looked at the most closely. And because of the location of the salt dome, the electrical shop, moving all that would require over 30 acres of space. So really it was a focus on PVR. So I just wanted to mention that was always kind of an underlying goal. We talked about needs, getting people together, where to locate them so they can collaborate and work. But at the end of the day, being on that site was paramount. And so I think that I just wanted to share that would be considered. If there are other options, that location is really the only one that we could find that accomplishes that primary goal. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to limit the speaking to 3 minutes if we could keep a timer. The next one we have is Amy, is that Alter or Alber? Amy?
Amy Allen was here for the abandonment. She's no longer here.
Next one is Leslie Zawada.
Same, she was here for the abandonment.
Okay. Next is Jeff Gilbert. I'd like to limit it to 3 minutes, please.
Birthday, guys. Morning, Oakland County Board of Road Commissioners. My name is Jeff Gilbert. I'm a Waterford Township trustee and a lifelong Waterford resident and a builder developer. I would like to review the cost. I think I have some better breakdowns that you were requesting, Mr. Chair. Staff hours allocated by Waterford Township to review the proposal of DLZ for professional services total to date $9,882. That permit is ready for pickup at the counter. Fees collected from the Road Commission by Development Services at Waterford. Permit application fee, $290. ICC plan reviews, $20,546. Site plan review, $150. Engineering site plan, $260. Those services total $22,346. The Road Commission tells me that they have $5 million plus into this project. There's an additional $5 million in federal grant money. It was indicated to me that it is site specific and cannot be moved to a different location. These funds are allocated for a new traffic operations center and have to be used this year or they will be lost. Also, the Road Commission would end up on a red list and would not be eligible for any future federal funds anytime soon. Also, inflation erosion is eating at the spending power of this project's funds, $86,000 per month. This 3-month pause has cost over $250,000. Again, that just doesn't seem very financially responsible. I can't believe relocating this project to a new site is even being considered at this point in the project. It just doesn't make good financial sense to anybody that I've talked to. If you decide to move this project to a new location, all of the same costs incurred to date will be incurred again, such as surveys, site plan, topo, stormwater, parking lot design, architectural plans, civil engineering, structural engineering, site prep, construction fence, soil erosion, and testing. To incur all these costs again, including the $5 million invested in the project, the $5 million lost in federal grant money, and approximately $5 million to start over on a new site, you will have wasted $15 million of taxpayers' money, not including the $86,000 a month lost to inflation or the $32,228 for the permitting process. So, I think we can do the math on this. We're 15 million plus into this at this point. The stakes are in the ground at the current site and it is ready to go. As you can clearly see, it does not make sense to waste this amount of money and start over at a new location. I believe the majority of Oakland County residents would definitely agree with me. Thank you for your time and careful consideration.
Thank you, John. Next, we have Marie
Marie Hasler.
And follow up on John, regards to his comments and his cost analysis. So I'm here to speak as a concerned taxpayer, a Waterford Township trustee, as well as a resident of Oakland County regarding this decision. So it's been estimated that approximately $15 million have already been spent
on the current project. That $15 million that has gone toward planning, site preparation, and other early stage investments. If you choose to walk away from the Waterford site now, that money is effectively gone. Every dollar of the new plan, relocation, redesign, new infrastructure will be an additional burden on the taxpayers. This is not just inefficient, it's fiscally irresponsible. You each took a fiduciary oath to act in the best financial interest of the public. That includes making decisions that preserve public resources and minimize waste. I don't need to remind you that all expenditures related to this project can be FOIA. Transparency is not optional, it's expected. If you proceed with the original plan, the public avoids additional costs, and we move forward with the project that has already had millions of dollars invested. If you pursue Plan B or any other alternative, I and many others will be expecting a clear public justification for doing so. That justification should include a full accounting of both sunk and projected costs and the reason for discarding what's already been done. Oakland County residents are watching. We'll be back to hold you accountable for the decisions made here. Thank you for your time, and I hope you make a good decision.
Thank you, Kim. Next, we'd like to recognize Commissioner Dave Woodward. You'd like to come up? Thank you.
The theme of the morning. Dave Woodward, I'm Chair of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. And let me start off by saying that there are, over the last few months, and whether it's the public discourse or whatever, something that we can all agree on is that we all want the best possible roads. Our communities depend on it, our economy depends on it, our safety depends on it, and it's something we all want. And I value our relationship with you, Mr. Chair, and the members of the board in the Road Commission to make certain that we have the best possible roads that dollars exist. We also recognize that we do this at one of the most dire, fiscally untenable, unpredictable times in modern history. We all accept we're approaching a fiscal cliff as it relates to road funding to be able to meet bare minimum. We know that, frankly, I'm not super optimistic that there's going to be a road solution statewide to inject additional dollars. You add tariff policy and other economic uncertainties that it will make it harder each year to be able to maintain minimum the obligations to have the absolute best dollars available. So when so much oxygen is being focused on an individual building versus having a conversation about roads, things have gone sideways. A building, let's accept for a second that a new building does not build more roads. A new building does not repair and fix roads better. I can fully appreciate the work that's gone into thinking about what's possible. And I've heard reported, as many as 70 years of thought to 50 years of thought and planning in some form or another of one day doing this. But the emotion around this conversation has reached a kind of a disproportionate level. I was the personal attack, the political jabs, the deflection. The fact that your lawyer sending legal memos to my lawyer and leaking it to the press is just completely inappropriate. It's petty, it's unhealthy, it's not necessary. So, and I guess when we talk about what the public's concerned, who asked the public? To be honest, does the public support more money going into roads or more money going into a new building? Despite all the argument about efficiency that can be happening, you know exactly where the public would be. Public supports more roads, period, full stop. So let me just give my general thoughts about the building, because I have been spending a lot of time having conversations that I believe that were necessary much earlier. And the fact that they didn't happen is troubling. But moving forward, it is crazy to think that the Road Commission and our Sheriff's Department and Homeland Security can't be working together on a collaborative command center.
Another minute to finish up.
To repurpose building new versus repurposing an existing building makes more sense. A funding strategy, paying cash up over a building that will in theory be owned for a long time versus bonding out to free up working capital that's going to be needed more now than ever, and addressing operational and unfunded liabilities things needs to be a priority before we have a conversation about new buildings. And there's a better way to do it, a cheaper way to do it, and all those options. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anthony Bartola. I believe, did I pronounce that right? Are you correct?
Well, happy birthday. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Anthony Bartolotta, and I'm Township Supervisor in Waterford Township. You know, I had a big speech written up, and I'm not even going to discuss it. I'm not going to go my 3 minutes, but I'm asking you guys to take your advice of your attorney. She made a lot of sense up there. As a supervisor, I always take the advice from our attorney, and she's always given me good advice. So I think it's foolish to move it over to the other side of Telegraph. You guys got a spot right now. Your federal funding is in jeopardy if you do move it over there. It's just very, very foolish. I'm speaking on behalf of Waterford Township. We've had a good working relationship with the Road Commission, and we want to continue doing that. So please keep the program moving forward. And thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mary Bartolotta.
It's right now.
The form was Mary Bartolotta. I am an ex-county employee, just retired. That's why.
County employer for the county or the road commission?
The county.
Okay.
Just want to urge you to move forward on this project. I know Mr. Woodward is worried about funding for the roads, and so am I, and that's, if we waste the $5 million or $10 million that we're going to lose if we move it, that's money that could be well spent on the roads. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else wishing to speak?
A couple of people in the audience.
Come on up and announce your name. There's 3 of you. Give your name and please.
Kim Markey, Waterford Township Clerk. Thank you very much for having us today. Good morning, everyone. I just want to understand why. Why has this been paused? Does anybody really know why it's been paused? I don't know if I've heard a clear answer to that. Is there an answer to that?
The times has changed, the economy, road funding,
Okay.
a lot of moving factors.
$43 million for budgeted for the building, correct? That's building money. That's not coming out of the Road Commission's budget per se for roads. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. So there is a separate fund. You are risking losing federal money. We live here in Oakland County. Do we want to risk losing money? Is this even feasible to move it? I believe Hubble, Roth, and Clark said it needs a 31-acre facility to do this. And you're thinking about possibly moving it maybe to downtown Pontiac? Is that even feasible? This money has been allocated to the building that is currently started. The lights have been torn down. The pavement has been torn out. In order to replace all that, that's probably going to cost another $3 million to replace all of that you've already torn up. You are continuing to waste taxpayer money every single month that this is delayed. I want efficiencies. We need efficiencies. This is not efficient. This is not efficient government whatsoever. I'm very disappointed in all of this. Is it even feasible? Do you realize the workers are going to have to go pay the city of Pontiac taxes when they start working there? Do you realize that? Do they want to do that? Your employees? You talk about recruitment and retainment. How are you going to get employees to do that? I'm just trying to understand this whole thing here. I don't understand it. The money has been approved and dedicated $43 million to this site. And we have just paused on this and wasted approximately $15 million. It would even take more to put the facility back together. They're different budgets. You're risking federal funds. Why would we pause this? Can we just become more efficient as a government and move forward? I just want efficiencies for my taxpayer dollars. I live here. I want good roads. I want efficiencies. Please take that in consideration. Do you know when you might make this decision? Because as long as you delay it, it continues to cost me money, our taxpayer money. Do you know when you might make this decision?
We'll discuss it after this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Any other speakers? Please announce your name and where you're from, your address, or wherever you live.
Hello, I'm Kathy Sharabelli. I live at 4099 Lotus. I've been a resident of Oakland County for 30 years. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for your work, because it seems to me working in roads is one of those like jobs where perfection is expected and you don't have the resources, so it must be hard. I'd like to also thank everybody for all the work that they've done over the years looking for efficiencies. I see this board questioning even like labor relations funding for small, small potatoes, right? So I would like to think everybody is on the same page with trying to save money. And there's been such a considerable investment already. Smart people decided it would be a good idea to consolidate. This group approved that. I don't know what's changed. If there needs to be development in Pontiac, which I think we all agree, it would be nice to have more jobs in Pontiac and it would be nice to have development. I don't think this is the way. I mean, I don't know where, like, are we suddenly getting money from the Trump administration to fund something in Pontiac right now? I find that hard to believe. These funds are already allocated. The project is, underway. So I don't understand why it's being stopped. I don't understand what would be better. And as a taxpayer and someone who cares about governance in our area, I have questions. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your service. I do not want to deprive Pontiac of anything, but I want to continue the project that's been so well vetted and researched, and all the money that's been spent, and also I do hear about trying to recruit people with the skills to do testing, trying to save money. I agree. I mean, who wants to suddenly, it'd be nice for Pontiac to receive more tax revenue because they need it, but the employees will have to park somewhere. They'll have to pay these taxes. It's very disruptive, and we don't know why. If there's some great reason, like some huge boon to all of us somehow, like whatever you're doing would save us, $5,000 a year in taxes, bring it on. I don't know what it is, but thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hi, my name is Ann Kramer, and I live at 7026 Hatchery. I don't have any credentials other than as a resident of Oakland County and Waterford. I'm kind of flabbergasted that this is actually a question. I would love Kim's question, why? And I'd also like to understand the studies that have been done that proves that any place is better than where we're already situated. If the move was for Pontiac, I used to work in Pontiac, and I can't see any place there that could house the facilities that are already in place in Waterford. So if there have been studies done, could you make those public as to why we would want to do it? Also, I'm a taxpayer, and when I look at my home budget, I cannot fathom throwing away the money that we've already spent, whether it's $5 million or $15 million. I couldn't do that in my home budget. How can we do that in our government budgets? So have there been studies that caused us to put this on hold? That's a question.
A study I'm not aware of, but we are looking. So.
Well, why? What data tells us that we should look to move?
Well, with the road funding coming out of, there's no solution for road funding.
Well, it sounds like we're looking at throwing away federal funding. So where is the data that says that's a good idea? There's got to be data behind the suggestion that we're moving, right?
Well, what's the answer? What's the answer to road funding?
Where is the
House doesn't have no idea, and we don't know what the clip is going to be. So we were
know
all
that we have
back.
federal funding.
Yeah.
We know that we have that. So where's the data that says we should throw that out the window? And future monies, just data. We live with data. Where is it? Why would we do that? I'm not getting a good answer.
So to be fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
The new building's gonna, once all costs come in, I guarantee there'll be around $50 million.
And we've been allocated 43 million, right?
So that's money put aside. That probably wouldn't be the fiscal way of funding that building.
Why not?
Should be monument. Number two,
Why?
we keep. I'm
Why?
sorry.
No, stay on number one. Why should it be bonded?
Hearing about dollars and cents and being fiscally responsible. So if we can repurpose a building and save $15 million,
And you won't be saving it because you already spent $15 million.
if we can save $15 million when it's all said and done, is that being fiscally responsible? That's my question to you.
Makes sense to me.
I understand that. So if we can find a building,
Is there data that says we can do that?
well, that's what we're doing. We're researching that right now, ma'am.
Why didn't we research that before we got the $43 million?
I'm going to tell you why. Because there's been a lot of changes within county government, and there's buildings that have become available since then, ma'am.
Okay. A lot of money to throw away.
Well, don't throw it away.
Oh, sounds like it will be.
Anybody else wish to speak under, public comment?
I will. So, good afternoon, board. This is, you know who I am, Mary Gillis, Director of Central Operations, for the Road Commission, Waterford Township resident, professional engineer in the state of Michigan. I see you watching that clock, Commissioner McPherson. Yeah, I'm going to speak the whole 3 minutes.
Got all day, ma'am.
Oh, great. I might take all day. Bonding is not more fiscally responsible. You are way off base. Is it more fiscally responsible to borrow money than to pay up front? No, it isn't. Anyone knows that, unless you can get interest rates below 1%. Are you saying you can do that right now? I don't think so. We've got the money saved. We've saved for years to build this. I don't want to make that argument anymore. What I want to show you is what I found on the internet. And this is regarding your actions. Something I found, it just came to me. But listen to this and tell me if this is how you want to be heard. And so this is a clip I heard on the internet describing this board's dysfunction. And
And the public is not going to be happy with you for wasting our money. Regardless of what I think personally, and I think a lot of things, but get your game together, get your act together. It's embarrassing.
Thank you, Mary.
Yep.
Anybody else wishing to speak? I guess
We have Andrew.
Yeah.
guess we'll go to the phone.
Andrea, you should be able to unmute now.
Can you hear me now?
We're good.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I had no intention of speaking today, but I appreciate the opportunity. Andrea Lalonde, Clawson, Michigan, former Road Commission Chair. I was one of the 3 seated commissioners that made the decision to move ahead with this building in the first place. So I think I have a little bit in the game here. So what I heard today, which made me distressed, was these comments about you know, what we all need are the best possible roads. And I understand that, and I think that that is the main charge of the Road Commission. However, recognizing that the best possible roads also means economic development for the county, which also means money in the county itself's coffers. It would be nice if the county board was so focused on the best possible roads that they offered some sort of assistance in funding, noticing that we do have a declining revenue stream. So it might be nice if they see the value in it, that they pony up as well. So the next thing that came up was that new buildings don't fix roads, and that's not the focus of the public. I guess the same logic can be applied to the county's relocation of its employees is not the focus of the public. They probably want you to focus on that money on county services. However, you found the value in relocating your personnel, and that same value would be held to relocating our COC's personnel. We made this decision based on the best interests of the agency and the services that we provide, and that location was paramount to that. 2 of the sitting board members were part of that decision making, and all of that same rationale remained the same. I feel like moving away from that is irresponsible and disappointing, and I hope that you guys look further beyond some sort of personal benefit or gain that may be granted in this kind of decision making, and you focus on the needs of the agency, the morale issue at the agency, and the benefits that come from relocating to this Waterford facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Is there any other phone calls that are coming in?
I don't see anybody else. If there is anybody else that wishes to speak, you can raise your hand and we'll allow you to unmute.
See anything out there?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, just popped in, I'm sorry. Jen Chehab, Wayne, if you could.
Yeah, she's unmuted.
Okay, Jen Chehab, you can unmute. Can you click the hand again, Wayne? There we go. Jen, are you able to unmute now?
I'm trying to unmute you, Jen.
She's got.
Yeah.
It's enabled on her end. She has to, okay.
Having IT problems?
Typing in the chat.
You can read it into the record.
Okay, Jen, I see your chat. I'll go ahead and read it for you. As a resident of Commerce Township in Oakland County, I concur with the statements that this board needs to unpause the building project and resume construction immediately. The loss of $15 million or more in carefully saved RCOC funds and federal grant funding is not in the best interest of the residents or the RCOC. As a counter to Chairman Woodward's statements, bonding for the building rather than using carefully saved cash and grant funds does not make any financial sense at all. If you can pay cash rather than pay interest and bonding fees, then why not pay cash? Further, Commissioner Woodward has not provided any details on the better way to do this. I'd also like to remind the board that if the project does not move forward, the $15 million that is lost cannot be used on roads. It will be gone, and there won't be a new building or any new roads. Thank you, Jen Shihab.
Anybody else wish to call in or speak?
Yeah, I would.
Get the timer corrected. So
I probably won't use the 3 minutes.
You're fine.
You don't want to hear me talk that long. So, my name is David Zernikowski. I've been with this road agency. Very proud of that too, for over 32 years. I too started in this building out of engineering, and I was told, hey, don't move around here because we're moving. Okay? So this has been in the works for a very long time. I guess what I would like to say is I understand a lot of perspectives on this, but this is what I think I need to understand a little better. As my girls tell me, the math ain't mathing. We're going to lose $15 million. That's up in flames. That's gone. It's like a dumpster fire, right? It's just gone. Federal funds that are attached to this agency could be gone. We don't even have a number on that, okay? So that money can't be going into roads. It could be going into a building. So where I'm struggling with the money on this, and why I say the math ain't mathing, is because if we lose our 15 million and then we have to refurbish another building, I challenge that to be less than $43 million. And that also means that we have to fix up our parking lot, take down the fence, and do everything else. So I'm struggling, at least on that, on the money. I don't see how there's any other possibility to do any of this for under the contract that we currently have of $43 million. I'm struggling with that, and I know a lot of other people are too. So, thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else wishing to speak?
There's gonna be discussion on it.
We're trying to get to it.
Okay, no, I'm just asking.
We're working through it.
Okay, just asking.
My name's Danielle Deneau. I'm the Director of Traffic Safety. I'm just very disappointed. You know, our agency as a whole has done extraordinary things. And it just seems to me like this board has no disregard or just disregards anything we do. They're getting outside input. We've worked very hard for this building. I know I've worked very hard to get this federal grant, and I am concerned that if we lose this federal grant, it will affect all of our projects, not just the ones in my area, it'll affect the ones in Sam's area as well, and anything else we do going forward. So it pains me to see that this is happening. Our vision says that, you know, we care about the residents of Oakland County, but do you care about your staff? Do you care about your employees? Because the actions that you're taking just doesn't show that. We care. As an agency, we care, but it's just not being reflected in the actions that you take. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay. Any commissioners want to speak? Sure. Saki?
So obviously, there's a lot of emotions here, and I understand the time and effort that we put into this. And I keep hearing dollars and cents and fiscally responsible and what have you. And so when the new building was considered, there wasn't a lot of movement within the county government. There is now. And, you know, I'm hearing $15 million spent, I'm hearing 5 to 10 million. So we're really not sure where that number is. Let's call it 7 million. To build a new office building today, when there's over 14 million square feet of available office space in the county, doesn't make sense, number one. And if we can save money by repurposing a building, why wouldn't we do it? If we can save millions of dollars to repurpose a building, why wouldn't we do it? That's ultimately the question. And, you know, what is it going to take for us to figure that out? Well, that's what we're doing now. I hear, why are we getting leftovers? Well, the EOB is moving to Pontiac, but they're repurposing a building. They're not building a new building. So for us to repurpose, when I say us, RCOC, to repurpose a building, is not getting anybody's leftovers. So secondly, an operations center really hasn't been discussed with the Oak County Sheriff's Office, Homeland Security, in depth. And I've talked to the sheriff, and I've talked to the undersheriff, and that's a fact. That is a fact. Whatever discussions have been going on, they may have been on the surface. They have not been with the sheriff or undersheriff.
That's not true. I have to say, I spoke to the sheriff personally. Gary was involved with the undersheriff at the time, who was retired. So I want to set the record straight.
Okay, well, current undersheriff. And it would make sense to have an operations center altogether. That definitely would make sense. Now,
and let me just pause for a minute. We agree we can have staff in an operations center, but our traffic operations center needs to be separate in our building. When they were talking about this Homeland Security building, the big building, we offered, sure, we'll have staff there, but we're not moving our whole traffic department there.
Okay, so let's say the cost of new building is $50 million, which will definitely get there. We've spent, $7 to $10 million. And I'm gonna throw out a building here. The executive building right now can be purchased for roughly $7 million. And an estimated improvement on that building is around $18 million. That's $25 million.
And why is the county leaving it? When they did their study, they said it was going to cost more to renovate their existing buildings, and that's why they were moving to Pontiac.
So that building currently is 116,000 square feet. I believe the new building that we're discussing here is 101,000 square feet. So we'll increase another 15,000 square feet.
But to Mary's point, the executive building, from what the Oakland County government published or had published publicly, was it was going to be $53 million to renovate, let's bring it up to standard.
So we can purchase the building for $7 million. And our improvement, renovation on that building is anywhere from $17 to $18 million. That's $25 million.
Except that's a different bogey from what the county reported to justify their move.
Let's not talk about what's reported. Let's talk about the facts.
But that's a fact.
No, let's talk about a fact.
Jeff has the floor.
A conversation about why we're moving. What's being shared is inaccurate.
So we're not talking about that. So I would like to actually in-depth research the actual cost of our improvement to retrofit that building to the standards that we need here. And I would say to repurpose that building, like I said, is an $18 million renovation with a $7 million purchase.
And what are your facts? And what is that based upon to some of the residents that have said, where's the data?
Well,
You promised us to
I'm
come to
gonna
us
tell
when
you
it was
that.
serious
I'm going to tell you that.
and that we would assess a need.
Sure, and the residents are concerned with being fiscally responsible, right? Saving money, correct? So if I can save money by this, then
What's the timeline too?
so I'm going to make a recommendation.
Still not accomplishing our goal, which is to be on the same property.
Well,
So
you're very,
Daryl can
you're
walk,
very close by.
walk out the door and talk to his employees. So Jennifer can have her safety supervisor go out to the lab if there's an emergency.
Right.
So I can talk to my mechanics on a daily basis.
You're a hop, skip, and a jump away. You're less than a mile away. And how far are you now?
A walk.
How far are you? No, how far are you now?
About 200 feet.
Right now, currently.
Yeah, 200 feet. My office is 200 feet from the mechanic's garage, and I can walk in and talk to him every day. Oh, yeah, I already work at PVR. I forgot, you guys don't know anything about the organization or the employees. Sorry.
So I would like to,
Go ahead. I had something to say before the motion was made or whatever.
So go ahead.
Okay. Couple questions. Everybody keeps talking, everybody keeps focusing on wasting $15 million. You're saying we're gonna save money. My question would be, and this will probably be to Tim and Jennifer, is if we get on that fire list, what is the annual federal funding that the road commission receives and will lose? Why don't we look at the money we're possibly going to lose?
So that's hearsay, by the way.
That's hearsay.
That's hearsay.
Well, you're being irresponsible and taking risks and just.
Well, how much is, what is the annual federal funding?
42 million.
So we could possibly be losing 42 million a year.
So that $5 million can be used in the traffic operations center at a new location.
They don't allow you to change scope with road money. You know so much more, Mr.
Who did
Zaki.
you talk to at Federal Highway?
Well,
Yeah.
if we can, and my recommendation is to bring some new legal counsel here, represent the board here. Because I think our legal counsel right now we're not getting a clear scope of things. And that's gonna be another recommendation.
Sounds like libel or something.
I do have another question.
Go ahead.
In previous board meetings, it was stated that none of the commissioners had talked to staff about the new building, anything, correct? Yeah, I mean, you got a set of plans, but you didn't ask any questions, never talked to Mary, never talked to Sam. Commissioner Woodward stated in his public comments that he had several conversations with regard to this building. Were those conversations with any members of the board?
Yes. Myself.
Okay.
The board instructed me to reach out to the county, which I did.
Previous to that, it was I think at the last.
This was from the last meeting to this meeting.
No, that started this whole process. Commissioner Saki came in, I think at the second board meeting. Commissioner Woodward showed up and said he's supporting an agenda item that didn't exist at the time. It was then introduced as new business. So my question is, was there a conversation between Commissioner Woodward and our board with regards to the building?
I told you yes.
Okay. Commissioner Saki, with you too?
With the executive office.
Okay. So isn't that a little concerning that our board doesn't talk to the members of our agency about anything about the building, yet you are going to an outside entity to have conversation? You seek, I talked to Mary and Sam, you seek no information whatsoever on the viability of this, or, what are we doing? You got plans, that's all we heard. But you're going to an outside entity having several conversations. I just think it's pretty concerning that you're not focused on what your job is, which is being the board of the road commission.
Set the policy.
We want to save money, correct? That's what I keep hearing.
And again, and we're likely to lose possibly 42 million.
We're going to throw away money, but we're going to save money altogether.
And you're going to lose money. That's what they're trying to explain to you.
Correct. but the bottom line, the bottom figure, are we gonna save money, even what we throw away? That's what you have to look at.
If you're saving money to lose money in the end, you're still losing. The road funding, I mean, Commissioner Woodward even said, you want good roads. You lose that federal funding, which Jennifer spoke on, they covered 80% of the funding or whatever for those projects.
Send the item
Two projects.
A alone, let alone all the other ones.
80% of the funding. Now you're going to put that at risk to save money, but you're going to, in the end result, get on a fire list and lose money. I don't understand the math on that one. In the end game, instead of focusing on this one little topic, I think you got to look at the whole picture of the agency and the public that we serve. Losing that federal money is going to stop Sam's group from building new roads, designing new roads, and having good roads for the public. So you can, save 15 million or whatever you want to say. When you lose 42 million the next year, that's a negative. You lose 42 million the next year, that's even more. So I think risking that federal funding is a big mistake.
Thank you, Darrell.
Can I add to that? It's clear that when we say things like this, they're not taken seriously. So the optics are, there's an outcome that is wanted no matter what the facts are. And, we here all crave respect, and we all crave to be able to respect you. And there's nothing going on here that's headed that direction. So you can count that in the morale topic and the building topic. And this project is like anything else. What else are you going to stop in the middle and throw away? That's what we're seeing. Well, I'm speaking for myself, but I don't think it's a big risk that everyone else in here, except for 3, see the same thing.
Okay. Anything else? Commissioner Isaki, you have the floor. And you were making a recommendation?
I'm gonna make a motion.
Motion? Okay. What is your motion?
Seek legal counsel for representation of this board, outside counsel. I'm gonna do another pause for 90 days. I'm gonna direct our COC staff, coordinate with Oakland County Sheriffs, Oakland County Homeland Security, and develop a plan for Combined Operations Center, Traffic Control Center. I want staff to update commissioners every 21 days. I want to direct the staff to develop a proposal for a new administration building or repurposing the EOB building. I want staff to contact Rewald for repurposing that building according to our specs right now. I want them to contact Charlie Gleason Company for that, Ronish Construction Company for that, and the Allen Group Company for that.
You provide us all the contacts.
Sure.
Please.
That's the recommendation.
That's your motion? Is there a second on Commissioner's motion? I'll second Commissioner's motion. Any discussion?
Yeah, I don't, could you explain to me these different groups outside of Rewald?
They are major contractors in the community that we would just get second opinion.
We have to bid that out per the bidding statute, so that we can't direct.
So you can invite them to the bid.
Exactly.
Well, inviting them to the bid and that you're recreating the entire.
Well, they'll put out an RFP is what he's saying.
We're gonna invite them.
But don't we need a plan first before we do that?
Well, the plan, that's part of the plan, I'm saying.
Okay, I need a little more clarification.
So
You're directing us to do something. I want to be explicit, and actually, I'll request that you put it in an email and copy the other two.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I'm
Put it
totally
there.
confused, because I don't know what,
Group Ronish.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
They're GCs or construction managers.
Yeah.
all of these are GC's construction managers.
Correct.
Allen Group too?
Yes.
Yes. That doesn't.
They're like a Rewald or a Wall Bridge
Yeah.
or
But any work we do has to be bid out.
We would bid it all out and we would invite these other companies. That's all. Because they're.
Ronish,
Well,
I
think
know the
with
owner of Ronish, they do not do many government projects.
I think we're getting really off track here. Are we saying, it's the intent here to get a picture of what it would cost to redevelop,
retrofit the EOB building.
redevelop, let me finish saying what I'm saying. Redevelop the EOB to perhaps be viewed for an option for the road commission.
Correct.
In comparison to what we already have gone through for the build. Okay. I would suggest that instead of trying to make this a motion, just make this a recommendation when we can get together after, give them a time you want to see that bid or whatever we want to call it. And then we reconvene, because right now it's really hard to understand what you're asking for here. With all the various organizations, because I question a couple of things if they're going to participate in a bid. And I know everybody sitting here wants what's best for the road commission. So if EOB is one of the options, let's know what the price is. I mean, excuse me. Let's put together a bid. I can't write it, and I'm assuming you're not going to write it. The people here, the minds here, put together the RFP. What you really trying to get out of it, and then that would give a I don't know how long you take to turn around an RFP and get it out and let it. And then we'll have a better, at least I will have a better picture on what I'm really voting on. If it's EOB, if there may be another building that.
Well, with the 90 days that we've had, EOB is the most conducive building that we have come up with. So that would be that building specifically.
Okay, so okay, I give you that. So EOB is the building. Let's look at what it's going to take to.
Right, we come up with our.
Out of order. You had 90 days already to present something. This is like a worse Elon Musk. I mean, this is really, I'm new to this. I've never been to these meetings, but this reeks of corruption. I don't know what's going on here, but there's not enough information. You guys have been in office. You've had this, you have professionals you're not listening to. I don't understand this. This is very upsetting.
So you want to make your motion?
I'm going to publish this because everyone needs to know how these decisions are getting made. This is really frustrating.
So the 90-day pause that we had, by coming up, looking at all the available buildings, EOB is the best fit for this. And now I want to move into getting a dollar amount of what it's going to take to retrofit it to the standards here. And we put RFP
before pausing, losing the
RFP out
already.
And we include these general contractors because they're very, very capable. That's all.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you want to put an RFP out. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we put RFP out.
And it could be them 3 plus 20 others.
Exactly.
Well, is Alpha's going to have the option to bid on this?
Who?
Yes, they'll be open to the term.
Yeah, the RFP, but I just want to make sure we invite these companies because these guys are very, very capable. That's all.
When is the date that the EOB will be available?
24 months. Within 24 months.
No, it still has to be retrofitted.
So 27, we're going to need all these details. If you're going out for an RFP, they're going to need to know that there has to be a design. This is going to take longer than another 90 days. If we're going to need the floor plans of the existing building, And somehow we're gonna have to figure out all the work that we did for the building that we wanted to build. How does that fit? This is not an easy thing.
Correct.
And I, quite frankly, I think your number's wrong. I hear 7 million. Chairman Woodward, is that the price tag of the building, is 7 mil? That's what I'm hearing. Is it 7 million? Is it 5? Why don't you give it to us?
Due diligence requires an appraisal. I am informed that the appraisers for about that.
Oh. Okay.
Due diligence requires formal appraisal.
And you may have
But, numbers are.
bonding, if you want a lawyer who will rubber stamp whatever you're trying to do, this is beyond.
It's gonna take longer than 90 days. This is a heavy lift. We're gonna be in breach of the contract, so whatever Frank Rewall wants to sue us and cash out.
Well, because it would be my recommendation that if we're going to pursue this route, that we terminate for convenience. We're gonna have to eat those costs. The contract very clearly says in Article 15.04 subpart A, if the suspension is for more than 90 days, Frank Rewald will issue us a 7-day notice to cure. If at the end of those 7 days we do not cure, they can cancel the contract and they can recoup a number of costs that those numbers would exceed where we want to go. That would be fiscally irresponsible. We are in a position of strength at this point because we are in a contract allowed 90-day suspension. And we have other rights. This contract is very favorable to us as an owner and as an agency. We have rights under this contract, but terminating for convenience is not without consequence. There would still be costs. They would simply be less than if Frank Rewald terminated. Now, then the question then becomes, if we damage our relationship with them to this extent where we cancel for convenience, which we are allowed to do, would they even bother bidding again? I don't know. But there's a cost to that, and there's a cost to the relationship as well. But again, the contract does not allow for a second 90-day suspension. There's no incentive for Frank Rewald to agree to it.
Well, the incentive would be for them to repurpose.
But they don't know, it has to be bid out according to the bid statute. So there's no guarantee that they would be the low bidder. And we have to give it to the low bidder. So what would their incentive be to agree to a second 90-day cost? Part of my job is to anticipate what the other side's going to do before they do it.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm very good at my job.
So Jim, Commissioner had a motion on the floor, and Nancy, you said you wanted it to be a recommendation?
Yeah, I think this should be more of a recommendation as opposed to a motion. There's just too many moving parts right now to get it going.
Time is too sensitive.
Speaking of time, you just said it was 24 months. You just basically are putting the road commission for Oakland County on the fire list. Even if it's been stated by staff that you cannot reallocate that money, it has to go to that project, you have a differing opinion.
Yeah, I will have outside counsel that I bring in.
But you said 24 months. That grant dies when?
Okay, Jim, you have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it. Is there discussion? We're on discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
Then there's somebody who does business.
New business. Or new business. Family won't need staff. Yeah.